And
Okay, so today I'm gonna talk about Susan B. Anthony. So, who is Susan B. Anthony? She was born in Adams, Massachusetts in 1820, and she grew up from a politically active family, so she kind of developed a sense of justice early in her life. Then her family moved to Rochester, New York in 1845, where she started the anti slavery movement. She also became a widely known suffragist and an icon of women's suffrage movement. So my thesis is Susan B. Anthony was an influential figure because she devoted her life as an abolitionist of slavery, education reformer, suffragist, and women's rights campaigner to guarantee women's rights and benefits in America. However, her dream didn't come true until 1920 after her death because after with the 19th Amendment in the Constitution giving the vote for women. So after the family moved to Rochester in 1845, they were active in anti-slavery work. They also sometimes joined with abolitionists, other abolitionists like Frederick Douglass and William Lloyd Garrison in the meetings. And in 1856, Anthony became an agent of American Anti-Slavery Society, where she arranged meetings, making speeches, and putting up posters, and also distributing leaflets about anti-slavery. Then she organized the Women's National Loyal League along with Elizabeth Cady Stanton in 1863, where they support and petition for outlawing slavery. However, their movement failed as women and other slaves remained excluded. And Anthony then continued to campaign for equal rights for all for American citizens, including people who had been enslaved. In her newspaper called The Revolution, she attacked lynchings and racial prejudice. Anthony was a teacher for 15 years, and that was her first paid position. In 1853, at the State Teachers Convention, Anthony called for women to be admitted to professions and a better pay for women teachers. She also asked for women to have a voice at convention and assume committee positions for women. In 1859, Anthony argued for co-education and claimed there is no difference between the minds of men and women. And then she also called for equal education opportunities for all, regardless of race, and to ask schools, colleges, and universities to open their doors for women and people who have been enslaved. She then successfully convinced the University of Rochester to admit women for the first time in 1900. So Anthony met Elizabeth Cady Stanton in 1851, and she is also one of the leaders of women's rights movement. She attend they attend women's rights convention together, and they work for the 13th Amendment in the Constitution to get the votes for women. Then they start to publish the newspaper, The Revolution in Rochester, with the masthead Men Their Rights and Nothing More, Women Their Rights and Nothing Less, and the aim to establish justice for all. And in the 1870s, Anthony campaigned vigorously for women's suffrage, and she speaks a lot of tours in the West. However, Anthony, three of her sisters, and some other women were arrested in Rochester in 1872 for voting. At her trial, the judge instructed the jury to find her guilty without discussion. They tried to fine her with $100 and it made her pay the courtroom fees, but they didn't imprison her because she refused to pay, and therefore denying her chance to appeal. And in 1877, she gathered petitions from 26 states with 10,000 signatures. She appeared before every Congress from 1869 to 1906 to ask for a passage of a suffrage amendment. Then the National American Woman Suffrage Association was established by Anthony and Stanton, and Anthony became the president in 1892 when Stanton retired. In 1900, Anthony retired at the age 80, and in 1906 she passed away. However, no, like then in 1920, all American adult women got their vote in the 19th Amendment, and it also known as the Susan B. Anthony Amendment. In 1853, Anthony began to campaign for the women's property rights in New York State, speaking at meetings, collecting signatures for petition, and lobbying the state legislature. In 1860, the New York State Married Women's Property Bill became the law, allowing married women to own property, to keep their wages, and have custody for their children. She then also campaigned more liberal divorce laws in New York. And she also pointed out the different moral standards expected of men and women and the needs of women jurors to ensure a fair trial. And she called for equality in marriage, in the workplace, and at the ballot box to make sure women get what they deserve and to make sure they eliminate the need for women to go on streets and to fight what they deserve.